I think that's absolutely clear. Kurdistan has been a strategic ally of the United States really from 2003, when U.S. forces came in through northern Iraq, through Mosul, and linked up with both Assyrian militias and with Kurdish militias to move against Saddam Hussein. Now, I think the important thing, given President Trump's clear desire to commit diplomacy through trade, is to see what the prime minister has to offer President Trump in terms of trade relations. Will there be an oil deal on the table? Will it be a deal that is good for American companies? Will it be good for the United States of America? These are the things that Donald Trump thinks about, putting America first. Can the prime minister of Kurdistan help America to put America first while helping Kurdistan? I have always said that the two biggest dangers that Iraqi Kurdistan, the Kurdistan region, faces are from Turkey on the one hand and Iran on the other. And right now, those two wolves still are at your gates. Now, Turkey seems to have made a deal with Donald Trump that includes a cessation of hostilities in Rojava in Syrian Turkestan, and hopefully will also mean that the Turkish government will make peace with the PKK. We're not there yet, but I think that is something that's on the table. Iran then is the big wolf right at your doorstep. And I have seen Iranian helicopters come across the Kandil Mountains and bomb Kurdish militiamen inside Iraqi Kurdistan. And this is something that has to stop. I happen to believe that Kurdish American ties are a benefit both for the United States and for the Kurdistan region. I believe this for 20 years, and I've been talking about this for 20 years with my friends in Erbil and elsewhere, and in Washington, obviously. A strong Kurdish region helps Baghdad to be more tolerant and to be more open to the rest of the world and to help. Let's remember, it was the Kurdish forces, the Peshmerga, that helped to destroy ISIS. Baghdad alone could not have destroyed ISIS. The ISIS forces were embedded in the Iraqi security forces. So I think this long-term security relationship is beneficial for the United States, for Kurdistan, for Baghdad as well. I would like to see a U.S. military base in Erbil, an Air Force base in Erbil. Remember that Donald Trump is a transactional president. He likes to make deals. He would like to make a deal with your prime minister over oil resources, and I think there's every reason to believe that he can make a deal, and that deal will have to include the approval of Baghdad, and this is a very big thing that's going to happen. I think the president wants to see that happen. I think he wants to see Kurdistan develop its oil resources and other resources. And I think he wants to also make sure that the KRG can live at peace within the Iraqi state, within with the Iraqi government, with Baghdad, and not have to be constantly warring over oil revenues and other things. I don't have the inside track on that. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know the answer to that. And I have learned many, many years ago not to make stuff up. So I will not give you an answer. I know that a discussion is going to be whether or not the U.S. will help the KRG to reopen the Ceyhan pipeline to export oil through Turkey. I understand that the Mr. Barzani has very good relations with the Turkish government, and that will help. And Mr. Trump has very good personal relationships with President Erdogan. So I think that's the way that they would both like to go. Kurdish exports through Ceyhan into Europe, but then they would have to get the agreement of Baghdad. Right now, Baghdad is being has been infiltrated for years and years by Tehran, by the Iranian regime. So that's going to be the point of conflict. And if I were to make a guess, I would say that President Trump would come out on the side of Erbil over Baghdad. Well, I think that's important. It's absolutely important. But don't forget, Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel has already come to Washington twice. So Mr. Barzani is not the first leader from the Middle East, but he's the first non-Israeli leader to come to the White House. It's important. It is significant. The president has been talking about his personal relationship with many leaders of the Middle East. We saw that in the tour of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and of Qatar. And President Trump was very clear that he has personal relationships with these leaders. He respects them and he considers them as friends. I hope that he will have that same friendship, that he will express that same friendship with Prime Minister Barzani, and that will lead for a closer relationship between Erbil and Washington. I think the United States would like to see the Peshmerga as a united force, as a single force, not as party militias, but as a single government force to express the will of the KRG government as a whole. I think also they would like to see a global, or I should say, a regional air defense system. I'm not sure that they're ready yet to bring Kurdistan into that because of the relationship with Baghdad. Again, Baghdad is infiltrated by the Iranian regime, and that is a severe problem. But I think ultimately that would be the goal, to see the KRG as part of a regional alliance to defend the interests of freedom-loving countries against the Iranian regime. I think the U.S. Sees a long-term relationship with the KRG. The KRG, remember, has been there in one form or another since really 1994, after the first Gulf War. And, it was on again, off again, but certainly since the fall of Saddam Hussein. This has been a long-standing relationship, and it's one that the U.S. has invested a lot of money in, a lot of time, many lives. They have invested, troops and commanders in supporting the KRG. I think that's going to continue for a long time. I don't think this is something that's about to go away. Look, I think the United States wants to have stability in the Middle East. That has been a long-standing U.S. goal, not just of President Trump, but of other presidents before. I think they would like to see Kurdistan play a role in stabilizing the region. And right now, let's not forget, the main source of instability is the Iranian regime, is Tehran. And Tehran is constantly seeking to infiltrate, not just into Iraq, which they can do every day by arriving at the Baghdad airport, but by coming over the mountains, over the Kandil Mountains into the Kurdish area. So I think this is something that I hope that your government will raise with President Trump and his advisors, how to cut off Iranian infiltration into Kurdistan. Yes, and I think again, the role of the KRG as part of Iraq, not as an independent country at this point, is to show it is possible in the Middle East, in areas that have been plagued by radicalism, by Islamic radicalism, by terrorism. It is possible to have an area in this region that is stable, that is moderate, that is pro-Western, that is not beset by Islamic radicalism and that can look towards the future and the prosperity of its citizens. I think that is the kind of partnership that President Trump would like to build. Uh, it's quite possible that they see it in different ways, and that could ultimately be a problem. But again, I reiterate the primary threat right now to the Kurdish region is the Iranian regime. The primary threat that the United States sees to the entire region is the Iranian regime. How do you stop that? You stop it by sealing the borders. And again, I hope your prime minister will ask for assistance from Washington to help seal the borders with Iran so the Iranians can no longer infiltrate, can penetrate, and can do damage to your citizens inside the Kurdish region.